Hi everybody, it's Carla with Cobweb Corner Cross Stitch, and this is FlossTube number 27. And here is Bo already. I have put her down about 100 times and she just will not stay down today. So I may have to cut this, pause this a little bit and put her out and shut the door. First of all, we've reached 400 subscribers. It's been 3 weeks since my last FlossTube, which I just can't believe. I meant to do one last weekend and ended up with food poisoning, so that didn't happen. But if you watched our last video, you'll know that we went on a bike trip in Kentucky and we were gone for 5 days, 4 nights, and we had a great time. And I'm really happy to announce that I was able to do all the biking that the group did. We biked 3 separate days, and it was an event with about 1,000 different bikers, and we were in absolutely stunning Kentucky horse country. There were some amazing horse ranches from people who owned trifecta winning horses and Kentucky Derby horses, and then there were just dozens and dozens and dozens of more regular kind of houses, but just beautiful country and horses everywhere. And I'm going to post some pictures here in a little bit to give you an idea of some of the things that we saw. And we just had a great time. So we arrived on Thursday night and checked in and got our packets and everything. And Bordeaux is just a unique kitty. So we got our packets, and then Friday morning we tried to get up and get an early start, and we it was actually pretty chilly on Friday morning, and we wanted to be on the road by 8:15, 8:30, and we got there and I had left my sunglasses at the hotel. And there was just no way I could bike for 6 hours on a sunny day without my glasses. So we had to go back and get my glasses, which I felt really bad about, but I was really glad that I did it. And the first day started out cool and got quite hot. I think it ended up to be about 94 degrees. And the end of our ride was pretty hilly, so it was pretty hard at the end. But we were supposed to go 49 miles, but we missed a turn. So we ended up going 45 miles. But the event had a couple of different stops where we could get lunch and power snacks and Gatorade and water, and they had porta potties and stuff. And the roads that we rode on, we did ride on roads. There was no trails, but it was pretty low traffic. And it was just beautiful. I had to walk one time where my hips really got to me on a pretty steep hill, and it was over 90 degrees, and it was toward the end of the ride, and I was just exhausted. So I walked for maybe 50 yards, which wasn't bad. And then we got on and we finished, and we were all so hot and sweaty and tired. So the next day we weren't so sure, especially my girlfriend and I. The guys were a little more confident, but we weren't sure we could do another, close to 50-mile ride. So we did there was 3 different rides you could do. There was a short, a medium, and a long. And we did the medium ride the first day. And then the second day, all the rides were a little bit longer. So the medium ride was going to be like 60 miles. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Let's maybe do the short. But we decided to do what they called a leisure ride instead. And it was a 20-mile ride on local bike trails. So it was almost completely flat. We rode from the place where the ride started into Lexington, Kentucky, and back. And we just had a real casual day. We started a little bit later, like about 9 o'clock in the morning, and did that, and then spent the rest of the afternoon. My husband and I watched college football because we are kind of football fanatics. So, and we just enjoyed the day. And then we went out for supper to a local place that was really, really good. And then the next morning we got up and we decided to do the short ride again, which was 45 miles. And that went really well. By that time we were just more a little bit more acclimated, and it just was no problem at all. We were one of the last groups to finish. We were a little bit embarrassed about that, but we really didn't care. We stopped at this great restaurant. They had a sanctioned stop where there was tables and, like I said, power snacks and stuff, but right across the street was this little local restaurant, and we went in and had ice cream and pie and stuff, and then continued our ride, and it was just a great time. So then we stayed Sunday night and drove home Monday. It was about an 8.5 hour drive for us, and it was just a lot of fun. And my girlfriend and I are both really proud of ourselves that we were able to do it. I was pretty tired for about a week, and I was also pretty sore, especially in my hands. I'm pretty sure I have some arthritis in my hands, and from just holding on to the bike and stuff, the handles for 20 hours, 20 plus hours. I got a little bit sore that way, but everything went really well, and it was just a great experience. So I'll try to put in a few pictures here and maybe some more at the end. So here you go. So yeah, that was Kentucky, and it was a lot of fun. So that was, let's see, that was the weekend of September 23rd, so a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't done I haven't done any exercise since then. It's like, yeah, either all or nothing, all out or nothing for me. I'm either running 5K or riding a bike for 25 miles, or I'm sitting on the couch and not doing anything but hopefully cross stitching. So haven't got back into it yet, but we'll see. Now that it's getting cold here, I don't know what it's going to be like for me for exercise. I'm not a winter exerciser. So what else has been going on? I think a few videos ago, I talked to you about that I signed up for Audible for books, and am really enjoying listening to books while I cross stitch. It's easier for me to pay attention to my cross stitch than having a TV show on. And I've finished 4 books since I signed up for Audible. So I finished all 3 books in the Discovery of Witches series. And then yesterday I just finished Where the Crawdads Sing by, let's see, who was it? Drew. Oh no, I can't remember. I'll have to see if I can put that in. And that was a pretty interesting book. It's a big book club book right now. Maybe you've heard of it if you're a reader. And I had seen mixed reviews about it, but I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a little bit predictable, but I'm really glad that I read it. And today I went on to Audible to find another book to read, and they had a 2-for-1 special. And so I got the one that I'm started reading is called, let me see, I'm going to get it right, Secondhand Curses. I'm a fantasy person, more fantasy than sci-fi. And this one's by Drew Hayes, and it's a very light-hearted kind of fairy tale book. So it's about this group of 3 kind of scoundrels who help people in kind of fairy tale situations get out of predicaments. So the first chapter was about Cinderella. So Cinderella, of course, had the fairy godmother come. Well, it turns out that the fairy godmother considered that a contract that they had entered in, and then was going to take Cinderella back as her kind of slave, because she met her end of the bargain. She got the prince to fall in love with her, and Cinderella had a great night, but now it was time to pay the price of the contract. So this group of three, kind of, they're not all people, but people kind of help her get out of it. And it's real light-hearted, as fine, kind of, the narration is over the top and stuff. So it's what I would say, not a great book, but it's interesting and it's kind of funny, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. So the way I understand it, I think each chapter is going to be kind of a different fairy tale. So, and that was a made for Audible book, so it's only available on Audible. So that's what I'm reading right now. What else did I do besides the bike trip? Stitching wise, I didn't get any stitchy mail or anything, but I have continued stitching. When I talked to you last, I had just started Sweeping Cobwebs by Prairie Schooler for Cobweb Corners Halloween Stitch Along. And everybody in the group, I think we have 67 people, are stitching Sweeping Cobwebs. And this is how far I am. And I love it. It's a pretty quick stitch. It only uses 5 colors of floss. I'm stitching it on 28 count Dense Fog by Witchelt over 2 with all of the called for DMC colors. And all I have left really is, there's another cat right here, and then I've got to fill in the eyes and stuff like that. And then I have a little bit of work on the moon, and then a border, and then I'm done. So I'm really excited. I don't know if I'll get it FFO'd by Halloween, but we'll see. I'm pretty bad about that. And so I'm looking forward to my next, maybe getting back to some of the stuff that I started after I get this finished. But now that it's football season, we love football. And we watch college football. There's 2 teams we watch on college football. We watch NDSU Bison from out of Fargo, and because that's where my husband went to school. And then we watch the Iowa State Cyclones, because that's where my daughter went to school. And on Sundays, we watch the Vikings and the Eagles. So I love football season because you're going to be sitting there in front of the TV anyway, so you might as well stitch. Also, I have had many people asking me about these. These are peels. They're called peels, and their original use is to go around spools of thread to keep the thread from unraveling. I saw these on Keep On Stitching FlossTube, and with is it Pam and Stephanie a long time ago, and I bought them and I love them. And if down below, on my links, these are available in my Amazon shop. And one of the things I like about them is they're super soft. They're just silicone. And I can fold my material with the wrong side out and then put the peel over the top of the material so that my hands never touch the front side of the material. And the peel is so soft that it doesn't put any creases in or anything. So I don't have to worry about that. And I find it a little bit better than like a grime guard, which can be really big and bulky. So that's what those are. And those are available in my Amazon shop. They're not very expensive. I bought a bag of 45 of them, and I'm glad I did because I just leave them on my Q snaps, and this one has 4. I probably don't need 4. It depends on how much material I have to hold in place, but I've had a lot of people asking about that. Stitchy wise, what else I did is I spent one day watching football. If you remember from a few videos ago, I have started using the Floss End, INN. I had seen a review of the Floss End system on Michelle at Bendy Stitchy. Is that right? If I said that wrong, I apologize. And I have so far bought 4 of these of varying sizes. This is the one that I'm using for sweeping cobwebs, and it's got my floss in it, and I really like it because you wind the bobbins. It comes with these little bobbins, and you wind the floss onto the bobbin, and then you put it in this plastic cover that has a hole, and then you just pull your floss out as you need it. And then it's got a little pocket up on the top to hold the strands of floss that you're not using. And one of the reasons I like it is because, first of all, it's so easy to pull the floss out and get what you need. But also it keeps my cats out of it, and it keeps cat hair, because this is sorry, it's reflecting, because this is plastic. Nothing can, you can wipe it off and it doesn't get on your floss, and it's all in just kind of compact. And then this one folds up and goes like that, and it's got a spot for your scissors right here, and a spot for needles. So one day, and then I've got those come in all different sizes. That's just a 10. So one day I spent an afternoon winding bobbins, and my husband made this for me. So he drilled out, there's 150 holes in this, and I've shown this before, but now I have quite a few bobbins wound and ready to use, and I love it. I love the way it looks kind of old-fashioned. I can see my numbers. I'm trying to get them in numerical order, and I have a lot of bobbins to wrap, but I did spend one day doing that. Mostly I'll just do that as I prepare for a project. Excuse me. My voice has been really, my throat's been really dry lately. Okay, let's do our giveaway for last week. And of course I can't find it. Where is it? Well, I just had it. Oh, here it is. So last week's giveaway was Christmas House Trio by Waxing Moon. And the question, this was a really fun question. The question was, do you say pop or soda when you're talking about drinking a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola? And do you say supper or dinner? And I got a pretty wide range of answers for pop and soda, but the majority of people said supper and used dinner in a more formal sense. So dinner was more they're going out to dinner, or a nicer dinner, things like that. So most people use supper. And the winner was Elaine Martin, and I choose the winners by using a random YouTube comment picker. And the winner was Elaine Martin. And Elaine, I think I have your address, so I will get this in the mail to you. And she wrote that she uses soda unless asking for something specific like a 7-Up or a Diet Pepsi. And they use, but she never uses the word pop ever. And they use supper at home and dinner for going out. So thank you, everybody. We had 13 comments, and I appreciate everybody participating, and we'll get this in the mail to you, Elaine. So some exciting news for Cobweb Corner. The first news is that we are now carrying classic Colorworks floss, and this was a big decision. I started carrying, I've always only carried DMC floss for quite a few years. And the reason was mostly that my market or my niche was just new and used cross-stitch books, concentrating more on things that I bought from stores that went out of business and individuals. And I didn't buy a whole lot of items directly from wholesale. But that, like Hoffman or Witchell, but that has completely changed this year. So I did a survey a few months ago on my Facebook page and asked what floss types people, if I could only carry one more, what would people want in Cobweb Corner's site? And the two by far were Gentle Art sampler threads and classic Colorworks. And so quite a few, 3 months ago probably, I started carrying the Gentle Art sampler threads, and I almost have a full line of that. I'm having a lot of trouble. Gentle Arts, the company Gentle Arts, is going through some hard times. They didn't get their base floss. It's been months now where they're not getting the base floss that they need to do their dyeing, and they are just have back ordered it on so many different colors, and I'm having a hard time getting the full line. And then often I'll put in an order and it's like 3 weeks before they ship. I just checked on another order that I'd put in probably 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and they said that they were having some family issues that caused them to be away, and they're very far behind on their orders. So it's just kind of been an ongoing thing. I feel really bad for them because as a small business owner myself, I know what it's like when things get a little bit out of hand. But it also, as a business owner side of it, it's a little frustrating that I can't get you guys the floss that you need. But hopefully that's all going to be resolved soon for them. I really hope that they can get things back on track. And so now I decided to also carry classic Colorworks. And I contacted the company about 3.5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and they said, well, let's start with our 125 of our most common popular colors. So I got those in, and those were put in after my last video, which was 3 weeks ago. And I right away realized that 125 colors wasn't going to be enough. So I ordered 50 more. So right now we have, I think, 169 colors in stock. And I'm going to be putting in another order in the next day or two to increase that. I don't know how many colors there are for sure. Maybe just over about 250 maybe. So you can now find classic Colorworks floss, and I'm really excited about that. I love the colors. I love having the 3 different types of floss available for my customers, and hopefully that'll make it easier for you to try to find what you need. Hi, Bo. Other exciting news. We are going, like right now we're hosting, Cobweb Corner is hosting the Halloween stitch along, like I said, for sweeping cobwebs by Prairie Schooler. And I thought about doing a Christmas stitch along, but Christmas is like not very far away. And it's a busy time of year. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do Christmas this year, a Christmas stitch along this year. So what I'm going to do is a Bewitching Pixies stitch along, and I showed a bunch of those to you in my last video, but here's 4 of them. These are by Nora Corbett, and they're published. They're not Mirabilia charts. They're published specifically for Witchelt, but they're by Nora Corbett. And I'm not sure how many there are, whether there's 12, but here's a couple. Here's 4. This is Raven, Minerva, Gwen, and Luna. And of course there's a number more, and most of them have bead embellishment packs available. And the way the stitch along is going to be set up is that you can choose which of the Bewitching Pixies you want to stitch. And I really like this idea of not everybody stitching something similar or something in a series, but not everybody stitching the same thing, because that way we can see hopefully all of the designs, the Bewitching Pixies designs stitched by someone. And it'll be so interesting to see any changes they make or what kind of fabric they choose and stuff like that. So I've created a Facebook group called Bewitching Pixies SAL, and I'll put the link to that below. And I haven't done any work on it yet, but pretty soon pictures of all of the designs in that series will be posted in that group, along with a supply list. And then I will be taking requests for which designs you want to order and what supplies you want to order for those designs. Everybody who's a member of the group will receive some type of discount on the chart that they choose. And I'm not sure what that discount will be. It'll be a couple dollars off the chart. In addition to, I already charge less than retail. So it'll be at least a couple dollars off the chart that you choose to stitch. And then I'm not sure what the start date is going to be yet, and I'm going to ask for input on that in the Facebook group. I'm thinking December 1st, but if people want to, we'll wait until January 1st. But I'm really excited about it. I think I'm going to do a couple more SALs like this where it's a series, like if you have an idea, let me know. But I'm thinking like, I love the Plum Street sampler delivery series where it's got harvest delivery, spring delivery, Halloween delivery with the horse. And I think it would be so cool to have a stitch along where everybody is stitching the one they like, and we hopefully get to see them all. So if you have ideas for future stitch alongs, let me know. But that'll be the Facebook group is created, and you could request to join, but there's not any information in it yet, but there will be soon. I'll have probably a post for every design with the supply list, and you'll be able to comment on the post if you want me to order that design for you. So we'll have lots more information on that. I think that's it for stitching news. The business topic for today is shipping. Kind of not so much how I ship. I use the United States Post Office for all of my shipping. I don't use FedEx or UPS just because it's much cheaper for the things that I ship, which are mostly just flat envelopes with a few charts in them. It's much more economical for my customers for me to ship via the U.S. Post Office. But I have multiple stores. So I have 3 Etsy shops, and I have Quartz Cobweb Corner. And then I sometimes also sell on eBay. And it gets very confusing. I've made mistakes. There's mistakes that have been made on my part and the customer's part that have caused problems over the years. And one mistake I made a few years ago was I shipped a package to the billing address instead of the shipping address, and the customer was down wintering in Arizona, and I shipped it to their house in New York or whatever. And that, of course, didn't go over very well. And other problems are I can just type it in wrong or something, or get something mixed up when I'm having to just type in or create an address label myself. And sometimes the customer enters the wrong address, and it's not even a valid address. And that can cause problems. So about 3 years ago, probably, when I got back from France. So I got back in France, 3 years ago, I don't know. I purchased or subscribed to a program called Shipping Easy. And it has a lot of features that I don't use, but it cost me $29 a month, which is quite a bit. It's a couple orders I got to get just to cover the cost of the shipping program. And what it does for me is it connects to all of my different stores. So all 3 of my Etsy stores, my Cobweb Corner store, and if I'm selling anything on eBay. And whenever there's an order, those orders automatically show up in the shipping program. And then it brings in the shipping address, and it also shows me what the customer paid for shipping and what kind of shipping they requested, whether they upgraded to priority shipping or that type of thing. And it will verify the address. So there have been, I don't know, it's actually quite frequent where the customer will enter in an address and the shipping program will say that address doesn't exist. And then I go out to Google, and I Google the address and try to find out. Sometimes the zip code trans numbers are transposed, or they used an abbreviation that the system doesn't recognize. Like, for example, they use S period for south or something, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. So it has saved me so many problems with things possibly getting shipped to an incorrect address. And also me shipping to the wrong address, because it just pulls the data right from the order and it knows to ship to that address. So that's really nice. But the other thing is, and you may know this or you may not, because it's the same with like stamps.com or any of those online shipping programs, is when I use this program, I get reduced shipping rates. So let's say a priority flat rate box cost, I don't even know what it is anymore. The flat rate box might cost $9.50 if I were to go to the post office and just say I want to ship this in a flat rate small box. Well, for me it costs $7.50 or whatever. So I usually save at least a few cents, and sometimes 50 or 75 cents per package depending on how it's shipped. And also I can purchase insurance and signature confirmation and that type of thing right directly from the program. And the biggest benefit of this is I also, well, I could do this anyway, but I never go to the post office. So I probably go to the post office maybe 4 times a year, and I'm shipping hundreds and hundreds of packages. So I just get my packages ready, I process the order, and then I have a little Dymo label printer that prints out the shipping label and put that on, and then I take it out and I put it in my mailbox. I have a big mailbox and everything goes in there, and the post office person comes, and when they're delivering my mail, and they just pick it up and take it with them. So it's really great. It allows me to see all my orders from all of my different shops and keeps me much more organized. So it's another expense, another thing we use, but I used to, for years and years and years, would type in the addresses myself. I had stamps.com, and I would go and type the addresses in, and then I had labels that I would put into my regular printer, which means I had to open up the separate paper tray and make sure I put them in the right way and everything. And this is so much easier. I have a separate label printer now, and never have to worry about the address being wrong, because it's whatever the customer entered, unless it's wrong by the customer. So let's see, I'm trying to see. Oh, the other thing it lets me do is, let's say I print the label and I put it on the wrong package, which has happened before. I can request a refund for that label right from within the program. So if I print a label and I pay for it, and then I'm not going to end up not using it, I can request a refund from that label right there. And that's really really beneficial. So it's $29 a month, but it's saved me on errors and convenience. And if I live out in the country, so going to the post office, that alone, which doesn't have anything to do with this program, but that alone saves me so much, because it's a 10-mile round trip for me to go to the post office. So it's a good half hour out of my day by the time I load up the car, drive to the post office, wait in line, do whatever I need to do there, and then drive back. And so I save so much time by being able to print my own labels at home, get them at a slightly reduced rate, and then just stick them in my mailbox. So that's how that works. That's the business segment for today. And I am starting to run out of business ideas. So if you have any ideas of what you would like me to talk about, please let me know. All right, next week's giveaway. So because we reached 400 subscribers, we're going to have a little bit extra giveaway. And what I'm going to do is give away things that nobody claimed. So we've got two things that nobody claimed, plus a needle nanny. So the giveaway is going to be for my friend's project bag, which I can't believe the person didn't get this. And the thing with this was there was a very, very minor mistake, and is that the miters aren't the same size. Other than that, it's perfect. It holds 8x8 Q snaps. It's adorable. She did a fantastic job. I love the vinyl windows on the project bags. So that, and with that giveaway had also been this chart by Cross-Eyed Cricket called Orange and Black. Another giveaway that was never claimed is by Shepherd's Bush, and it's called Ba Ba Little Sheep. And it says, Ba Ba Little Sheep, have you wool to share, black wool, white wool, wool that's soft and fair. Wool for my needle, soft and gentle plied, wool to keep me stitching well into the night. And then it comes with this little lamb button. So that is part of the giveaway. And then, hopefully you can see this, you'll have this Needle Nanny by Zappy Dots. So all 4 of those things will be in next week's giveaway. And the question is another Midwest question. So in the Midwest, we have, well, at least in Iowa, we have what we call the Midwest wave. So if you're driving and not so much in town, not in, especially in a larger town, but if you're on a county road or any kind of road, pretty much a county road, we have the Midwest wave, and it's this. So if you're driving and you meet somebody else driving, you just do the old, and they go back, and that's the Midwest wave. And even if I'm out for a run and somebody's coming down, maybe if I'm paying attention, especially if I'm running in my development here and paying attention, then I'm running and it's like this. So, and sometimes you can do the whole hand, but it is pretty prevalent. And when I was young, I remember driving out to my grandma's, and pretty much every car you saw on the way to grandma's farm was this wave. So do you have something similar? Do you do the Midwest wave, or the, if you live in a city, you probably don't, but do you have something else that might be a little bit particular? And if not, just say so. So is there something you do like that, similar to that, in the area that you live? So it's actually pretty funny. We talk about the weather a lot because we're farmers, and the weather is super important, and we have the Midwest wave. So okay, so that's the giveaway for next week. Inventory, new inventory. So first thing, I finally got in Emily's House by Lindy Stitches. I love this so much, and I watched her FlossTube video where she talked about this, and she is so funny anyway, but her excitement over this chart was hilarious, and rightfully so, because it is just the coolest chart ever. She's got her cats up here. She's got two moons, silver moon and the yellow crescent moon, some dogs and birds in the grass by the house, and then it says, speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. So she says in the back, it says, my friend Emily chose the gentle art threads for this sampler, and I designed it with her in mind. Emily works to advocate for women and children in her community of Cartersville, Georgia, and is an everyday hero. So that is in stock. It also includes a pattern for these 2 scissor fobs. So that was fun. Then I got some new, one of my absolute favorite designers or publishers is Betty Core. And I got a couple of new designs by them. This one is Christmas on the Beach. And the thing I love about this designer is the little tiny touches, like the scarf on the lighthouse. You could have just had just a lighthouse, but it's got the scarf on the lighthouse. And then, the stocking cap on the bird. And there's usually a couple birds. It's got, the snowman, of course, smoking a pipe. And this boat says Sea Star different things. And then it says Christmas on the Beach. So I really like that one. And another one is Christmas Farm. And this is part of the, she has a series of farm designs. I'm stitching the Sunflowers Farm. And then there's a Pumpkins Farm. There's now a Lavender Farm. I don't know if I have that one here or not. Oh, I can't remember what all. I think there's a couple other. And this one is Christmas Farm. And it's got the holly. It's got different little Christmas trees. It's got some wreaths, and then an elf down below, or a guy down below, and a little girl down below. So I really, really like that. Then, not so new, but I got in Autumn Salt Boxes by Plum Street Sampler, and Spring Salt Boxes by Plum Street Sampler. And then this is an older chart, 2008, but I really liked it. I ran across it on Hoffman, and it is, it's called Santa Please Bring Me, and it says list, linen, floss, and time to stitch. And this is by Homespun Elegance, and it comes with the little scissors charm. So I really like that it included time to stitch on Santa's list. Excuse me. Then I got Jenny Bean's Christmas, and it says, and I had but 1 penny, thou shouldst have it to buy gingerbread. So cool. Merry Christmas Angel by La Di Da. And I love this one by La Di Da, Awake My Soul and Sing. So it says, yeah, Awake My Soul and Sing. I really like that. And I've got Cereal Bowl Collection Sampler Lesson 4. And this one says, be you to others kind and true as you would have others be to you. And I've got the Beekeeper. I think that might be a back in stock. And this one I think is older too, but I'm not seeing a date on it. This is Bent Creek, the Holly Berry Sampler. Then I have Stitch Cards Set B by It's So Emma. So these aren't cards like cards you send, but when you open up the chart pack, each design is on its own little kind of large recipe card type thing, but it's real sturdy, and I don't know if it's glossy, but so each, like, here's one of them, and it's just on its own card, and that's why they call them cards. So this one comes with those 4 designs. Then I got Halloween Town by Raise the Roof. And this says, the clock's striking midnight as leaves twirl around and the pumpkins are sleeping in Halloween Town. And I also got Christmas Land by Raise the Roof. And that says, the street is filled with visions grand, a lovely night in Christmas Land. Then I got my hands-on design. I got Autumn Skies, This Way to the Pumpkin Patch, and Autumn Skies, Autumn Pies. And that comes with the trim needed to make the little pillow. So it comes with that. Then I got Boo Chockful by Hands-On Design. And then Quilty Love by It's So Emma. And then I picked up some Sue Hillis charts. I got Christmas Friends, and it has instructions on how to finish the sleds. And another one by Sue Hillis, Christmas Time. And then a new one by Stony Creek is Toy Soldier Stocking. And another one by Sue Hillis is Traditional Trees, Something Old, Something New, Series 3. And I really like this one. This one in particular here, you make little garlands out of beads. And the beads aren't included, but you end up decorating the tree. And then this, the sample here has little tiny star charms. And then these garlands made out of beads. It's really clever. And this was so cute. Amy Brukin, Just Be Claus. And this one's cool because it uses for the beard on Santa, it uses DMC white memory thread. So you bend it to give it that whimsical curly look. Very cool. Then for older charts, I went into, I have so much inventory from years and years ago that I haven't listed on my website yet. It's called Dead Inventory because you've paid for it, but it's not available to customers to buy. And I have some from, like I said, stores that went out of stores that went out of business, and individual collections. So I went and pulled a bunch of those and got them listed. I usually only get one of each when I have this type of thing, but I got some character creations charts. This is Ganga. Beautiful. And then some old illusions. And I did some research on these and I just cannot find these anywhere. This one is called Mirror Mirror. And I really like this one. It's called Transformation. And then an old color charts, Victorian sewing room, and very old. I think it says 1984 by Aspen Needleworks. And it's called Chores. And it's based on a painting. Let's see. Common Folk is more than just the name of, it's a painting of Ilona Steelhammer's artwork. So that is vintage. And then I have a Heaven and Earth design, Mary and Her Lamb. Celestial Garden by Designing Connection. Is that right? No, sorry. By Vermilion Stitchery. These are all pre-owned, but in pretty much brand new condition. This is another character's creation, Mermaid. This is a chart pack by Pegasus Originals, and it's called Castles, Dragons, and Unicorns. It's got a number of different designs. Those are hard to find too. Then also pre-owned by Vermilion Stitchery is 6 Busy Santas. And then by X's and O's, I have Blue Mermaid. All of these I only have one copy of. By White Willow Stitching, I have Elven Love. Also by White Willow Stitching is Pisces. And Freya. And this one I like is Kronos. It's also by White Willow Stitching. Then an old Flight of Fantasy by True Colors. And this is a great one, vintage chart by Margaret and Margaret, called Birth Sampler. And it's got a Bible saying, "Suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God." And this is from 1985. And I do have 3 of those. That one came from a store that went out of business. Actually, I have 4 of those. And I've got Sorry. My let's see. My magic wand is in the shop. And that one comes with 2 little buttons. And I've got an old Cross My Heart Very Berry Bears. They're so cute. Another white willow stitching. This one's Libra. And then I love this. Let's see, where's the other one? The next 2. These are by Shiny Sun's Cross Stitching, which I've never heard of that publisher before. This one's called The Brave. Isn't that amazing? One of those. Brave Spirit, actually, is the name of that. And then this one, I just love the Embrace. Aren't those amazing? Then I've got Black Swan. It's called Dragons by the Fire Stocking. It's a Christmas stocking. One of the more unique Christmas stockings I've seen. It's got one dragon down here sleeping by the fire. It's hard to see. And then there's another little dragon right there. Then I got Romantic Mandarin Duck by Pin. 6 set of Chinese blessing dolls, also by Pin. And Shu Sing, God of Longevity by Pin. And by Custom Crafts, I got Spirit of the Tiger. Isn't that amazing? And by Near North Treasures, Chantal LaFay, the dragon. And that's it. So that was most of, I listed quite a bit. In fact, I listed over 100 charts on our site just the other day, just a couple of days ago. And most of those were bestseller restock and some other new ones but those are the ones I wanted to feature. And I wanted to show you some of the things that we get from shops that have gone out of business and individual collections. I purchased, I don't know how many charts from an individual the other day, and it was a big box. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I've listed over 22,000 different charts on my site. And out of this whole box, there was only maybe 10 that I had ever listed on my site before. Others were brand new charts that have never been listed on Cobweb Corner. So I just can't believe how many different cross stitch designs there are. There's just so many. So I think that's it. What's coming up this week? Right now my husband's on travel and he gets home tonight, and then he's home next week, and then the weekend after that he has to travel to India. And he'll be gone, I don't know, 5 nights, I think. Before he leaves, we have to have the windows in our office where I do all my work, and this office is a complete disaster. We have a whole bunch of furniture in there, office furniture in there. We have our elliptical machine. We have a lot of his photography stuff. It's just a mess. And we have to have the windows in there replaced because they have rotted, and there's just a ton of winter air comes in there. And that's all set up to be done next week. We haven't even started cleaning that out. And that's where I do all my work. So I have to figure out where I'm going to work while all that's being done, because not only are we going to have the windows torn out and replaced, but we're going to replace the carpet, which is about 22 years old. And that room has never been painted. We have that room and my studio still are just the white drywall walls from when we finished the basement 23 years ago, probably, or 22 years ago. And so we're gonna, while we have everything out of that room, we're going to tear up the carpet, replace the windows, paint, and then get new carpet. So it'll probably be torn up for, knowing us, it'll be torn up for months, because we haven't even started to look at carpet or even think about, I don't know where we're going to put our office furniture or anything. So he gets home tonight late, and then really all we have is Saturday and Sunday, and then evenings while he's home to figure out what we're going to do. So I have a big, really old desk in my back area where I keep all my cross stitch books, and I've got that cleaned off, and I'm hoping to be able to set up my computer and my printer and my scanner back there and be able to process orders back there. But other than that, it's going to be this complete disaster. So I'll try to get some pictures of that. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to continue stitching on sweeping cobwebs, and I really hope to finish it this weekend, unless my husband puts me to work cleaning out our office. And I hope that you have time to stitch too. Thanks for joining me, and please, if you want to, subscribe and share with your friends. I appreciate that. Goodbye, everybody. Happy stitching.